Number one, as I've been telling you for 2 years, the Democratic Party plan announced by Hillary just months before she lost to Donald Trump was to demonize InfoWars, misrepresent what we've said, because we were seen as the tip of the spear of Americana and its resurgence. Then use that demonization to label all other conservatives, libertarians, nationalists, Christians, you name it, and deplatform everyone from Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, you name it, which are about 80% of the worldwide web traffic. CNN announced on Thursday that they had met with other so-called media companies and other so-called journalists and professors of journalism, and we're asking Facebook why we weren't completely banned. And I'm going to go over all these quotes coming up. Facebook then said, look, we already restrict 80% of conservatives' posts. That's the number I told you previously, because we can actually see it on a graph. It's not just me, it's everybody. Diamonds and Silk, it's 97% because they're so lovable, they're so funny, and they're not negative. They're even more effective than I am, so they're 97% banned. They had congressional hearings 2 months ago on it. So you've got CNN, the kings of fake media, kicking all this off Thursday, covering it. And then you had the Washington Post, the New York Times, New Yorker Magazine, all of them weigh in and say, yes, totally ban anyone that is a conspiracy theorist. That's anyone that says they're liars. You know, like we said that they'd given the debate questions at CNN to Hillary beforehand. Of course, it came out in WikiLeaks, but you could see she'd been given them beforehand. Well, it was all studied and ready, and she instantly answered with the canned prepared statements. You can see when something's rigged. Mama didn't raise a fool. Just like I told you, some of her town halls were fake. I know 80 millimeter when I see it. I know fake when I see it. You know a Hollywood movie because of the production quality. It's so real, it isn't real. Months later, came out indeed, it was totally fake with hired actors. So they're mad that we're covering this. So they misrepresent and say that I said nobody died at Parkland. That's what they list in these articles. That's fake news. No video of that. They say I say there's Martian colonies. No video of that. And then they say, we got to deplatform him. Well, Donald Trump Jr. tweeted out and said, really, CNN is supposedly the policeman that's going to run all this? Seriously, if someone is going to lead the charge against fake news, shouldn't they be a lot more credible than CNN? Then they said Donald Trump Jr. endorsed InfoWars. More deception by CNN. When all he did was say, you shouldn't be the arbiter and list what is news or what isn't news. Because again, even Facebook said, look, one person's fake news is somebody else's news. The media's in a war. The liberals put out fake news. Conservatives put out fake news. But then they added, but don't worry, InfoWars posts are dialed back 80%. They went on to say, really, actually, it's more than that. Only if you go to the page do you see it. We don't let people share it. And if they do, we penalize them, which is social engineering. So the censorship's here, and the smarter, corrupt tech giants like Google and Facebook are in the news saying, shut up. This is racketeering we're involved in. We are displacing and quieting an entire section of a country, and we're using Alex Jones as the case point. He's already been shut down on our platforms, you idiots. They actually say it. You're going to make him a martyr and get Trump to do antitrust. Shut up, CNN. I have a raft of incredible, world-shaking news, extremely exciting, extremely informative, extremely important. And I'll get to all of it. But if this was happening to anybody else, it would be my top story. In fact, I am, quite frankly, pinching myself, thinking maybe this is virtual reality, like Total Recall, and I'm just playing some video game where, you know, I'm the hero fighting the evil eugenicist globalists who are trying to censor everybody and poisoning the water with fluoride. But then it's all real and it's really happening. I have to pinch myself when I spent 2 hours this morning doing different searches on Google, Alex Jones, CNN, InfoWars CNN, InfoWars Congress, InfoWars platform banning, InfoWars censored. And each time I'd click it, it'd be 4,000 articles, 2,000 articles, 400 articles. There are thousands and 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 thousands of articles just in the last week saying ban InfoWars and take it off the air. Ban it on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Sue it out of existence. Shut it down. But that's not why this is important. This is a PR ad campaign to end the First Amendment. They're having hearings on it Tuesday in Congress. We're going to tell you the committee and the rest of it. But when the last 5 or 6 days since they've been doing this, when I read hundreds of the articles, document cam shot, please, for TV viewers. This is just from the last 3 days here, but like 60 of them. They admit in every article, going to Facebook and Google conferences, the New York Times, the New York Post, the Washington Post, the LA Times, they all go, we all agree Alex Jones and other conservatives need to be banned. If they question anything we do, we call them conspiracy theorists or racist, and they're banned. But they said if we're too obvious about banning Jones, there could be antitrust suits, Trump may do something. They all think we're dumb, so they talk to each other in the newspapers like they're only talking to themselves. And they say, look, Google and Facebook are already censoring conservatives 80%, dialing them back, some 97%, like Diamonds and Silk, because they're so sweet and articulate and are positive with everybody. They're just two sweet little ladies. So they're 97% banned. They had hearings 2 months ago and admitted it. 97% dialed back, two entertaining, smart, funny black ladies talking about how they like free market in America. That's evil. That's bad. And they had Congressman Hank Johnson, the guy that says islands float, I'm not joking, saying, shame on you, making a lot of money on Facebook. They never made any money. We build Facebook. We build YouTube. They say it's this open platform. Then they censor people. And for years, they then deny it. Oh, we're not shadow banning. We're not blocking you. We're not. And then you get undercover Veritas videos of YouTube, Google, Facebook, Twitter with all of their executives. They have them all on video going, our main enemies, veterans and gun owners, anybody with an American flag on their site, we just shadow ban them. And they think they're talking to people on Facebook and Twitter, but they can't share it to anybody, so they think they're all alone, and they get really depressed. It's called fraud against a whole class of people, censoring and controlling what they can say and do over the modern telephone. They say landlines are totally going out. People do use Facebook and Twitter. They do use private messages, and they're in there reading all that. So they have draconian Chinese communist-style censorship coming in. Communist China now has taken control of Apple. They've officially moved there under state-run, and now let the government run their systems, their iCloud computing, their key codes. They have the keys to the kingdom. And notice last week you couldn't send Taiwanese emojis of the Taiwanese flag. Your phone would crash anywhere in the world. If you were in the U.S. or in Germany or in Russia or in Japan or in China or in Taiwan or in Hong Kong or in Durban, South Africa, your phone would crash. And they said, oh, yeah, the government said do that. We did it. So, see, if they can control the emoji you can send, they could ban anybody's voice print. They could ban anybody's image. Whatever they want with algorithms, they can ban it. Think of the control Hitler would have had with this. So, I've got literally 60 articles, I counted them here, just the ones I had time to read the last few days, where in every article they admit that they've already banned InfoWars off their platforms. They're just angry we're on close to 300 radio stations, 400 TV stations, and 80-plus cable stations. So they know Congress is listening, the military is listening, the police are listening, and the Streisand effect has happened where they've been trying to suppress us, and so it's made it even more popular. So, yeah, we don't get shared on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter like we did before. And other people have been socially conditioned, other conservatives, to not be hardcore, lest they don't get censored, but they're still getting censored. They give in to the scam, the Pavlovian conditioning of we give you a piece of meat if you're a good little globalist. We shock you if you're bad. It's operant conditioning. And they admit it. But see, here's their problem. Google, Facebook, and Twitter are all saying to CNN and the Washington Post, I have the articles right here, they're saying, stop it. We've already strangled them, idiots. They already can't share. We don't even let Christians share ministry information. There's an article in WorldNet Daily where a Christian group said a song about Jesus and it was banned because they said that that's politically incorrect and is political. So it's happening to everybody ahead of the midterms. That's the plan. And Europe already has massive censorship. China already has it. And we're adopting a global social credit score tied into everything you do, where basically the public can vote on you like Yelp, and so can governments and corporations, where you can't even have a job or travel or live. China's already done this to 12 million people if you don't submit and play ball. Yeah, there it is. Is this a political ad? Facebook thinks so. Another thing is they said they've banned political advertising, but not for Democrats, for Christians, for conservatives, for pro-life, for members of Congress that are women who are conservative. They just banned them. They're calling for Trump to be banned. They already block almost all of his push notifications. When he sends out a tweet, you've got to go to his page to get it and retweet it. And the president isn't even aware of this when it's admitted. So we're writing a detailed report showing the executive saying it. Every paragraph that we claim will have a link to them saying it tomorrow. A 37-page report is being compiled by Mike Adams, who's an incredible researcher, computer programmer, you name it. Paul Watson's doing one in the morning. And these reports will be sent to Congress. They will be sent to the president, and they will detail, not in our words, but in their words specifically, how they've already muzzled nationalists, conservatives, libertarians, how they've cut back the president's reach on the internet 90%, and how it's still not working for them because people have broken with the mainstream media and with the big corporate outfits. But here it is. TechCrunch. Facebook would make a martyr by banning InfoWars. And it goes on to say, Jones is already quarantined like the disease he is. Don't you understand it opens up antitrust suits and discrimination, and Congress will move if they know. Go read it. They think Congress is so dumb that they are in all these articles going, CNN, shut up. We're already censoring Jones, and it hasn't worked. And we're censoring everybody else, you idiot. Shut up about it. Just 6 months ago, they were denying it. Now they have to admit it to Congress. You understand the liability of this, just calling everybody fake news? We're going to come back and go over these incredible articles, what they're doing, and then shift gears into what Trump's doing and the EU. So much to cover. Please stay with us. We'll be right back on the other side of this important break. Tell everybody you know how you're listening and to tune in to get through the censors. You are the resistance.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
Rosenstein not smiling anymore after House Republicans spotted with his impeachment docs. They're being introduced tomorrow. Why don't they go along with old Jeff Sessions? Well, he says if Rosenstein's removed, he'll step down. Yeah, compromise is the name. Also, we're going to look at Who is America TV review. They're saying it's absolutely boring and horrible. Sacha Baron Cohen goes around dressed up like me half the movie. I've talked to folks that have already seen it in Hollywood with InfoWars T-shirts and stickers and says horrible racist things attributed to InfoWars. Defamation by comedy. It'll be another failure and fall flat on its face, even though the whole system throws itself behind it. We're so sick of Hollywood. It's unbelievable. But we'll play that review coming up. We'll play the stupid trailer for it. Also, he tried to get me in it. And I told the producer, I said, Showtime's not doing a piece about both sides in America to bring us together. I said, I bet that's a frickin' infiltration hit piece. And, of course, it was. Just like I never even aired it a few weeks ago when they canceled The Opposition that attacked me 4 nights a week. Too lazy to work on Friday, a late-night show on Comedy Central, Redstone's Viacom. And we just got to thank our lucky stars that the globalists are still directed by, 95-year-old, globalist crypt keepers. Because it's like Dianne Feinstein can't get the endorsement of the Democratic Party in California, and they just endorsed a communist. I mean, they're showing their real colors, ladies and gentlemen. And the Democrats keep trying to run crypt keepers. And I love old folks that are patriots, but these old globalists are just a mess. And everywhere, they just keep trying to run these fossils. The Democrat millennials don't want that, man. They want Venezuela. They want Antifa. They want collapse. They want some free stuff for a couple years and everything to collapse. Misery loves company. Well, we're going to stop them, don't worry, but this is serious, so that's all coming up. Also, secret plot to evict Julian Assange from Ecuadorian embassy discovered. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to so much more today that I haven't even mentioned, but let me just get back to the big enchilada here. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, Roger Stone's on next segment. He's one of the top stories in the country, obviously. Now, 12 Russians, or is it 13, have been indicted. Now, first they indicted 13 web bots, and it turned out those companies showed up and said, we didn't do what you said. In fact, we were doing advertising for Hillary, so now he's trying to get that case dropped quietly. So now he's just indicted people, claiming Russian intelligence agents were running Guccifer 2.0 and you know, stole the election. It wasn't the American people. So I forgot to tell you, text Roger real quick. He's on his way to the airport, but he can call in next segment. So that's all coming up. And then the whole second hour, I will go through all of this, try to break down just where we are historically. But here's the deal. I'm going to wait till Roger's gone after the next segment to get into this because it's got to be done right. You know, I did it in the first and second segment if you just tuned in, but I don't think I really did it justice here. I mean, this isn't me hyping this. There are thousands of articles this week into this Sunday saying ban InfoWars. And then you read from the tech meetings with the so-called journalists and with the so-called journalism professors, all discussing how to kill free speech. So you go to major universities today to learn how to strangle speech and how to create cult members. You've all seen Missouri State and Evergreen College and Washington and all the videos, Yale, Harvard, where they say no whites allowed on the campus today. And then an Asian reporter shows up with his camera that goes to the school as part of the newspaper, and a white woman walks over and says, "Get me muscle, no whites allowed." She means white men. Or Evergreen saying, no whites allowed this weekend. Or remember, you know, Yale, you've got the liberal professor who's a real liberal going, now, it may hurt you. There's Halloween parties and that people dress up as different things, but cultural appropriation's not bad. It's like they told my younger daughter when she was at a retreat, school camp retreat, they said, listen, don't call that a Chinese fortune flower. You know, little girls write the things and they sit there and you pick a color, you pick a number, and then they write a fortune in it. Everybody remembers that? How it's so cute. They make them with construction paper. Don't call it Chinese. Like, don't call the Chinese New Year Chinese. Call it Asian. Just saying Chinese is hurtful. Whoever said that? It's their New Year, their calendar, 4,000 years old. It's like saying the Roman alphabet or the Sumerian text or the Egyptian hieroglyphs or Newton's apple. I mean, or German or English or Russian or Spanish. Or Aztec, or Mayan. It's something they invented. Like calling beautiful horses from Persia, Persian horses. It's a war on language. They know what they're doing, where all you know is superstition and are scared of words. Never forget, like 5 years ago, I'm laying by Barton Springs, this big natural pool here in Austin, and I watch a Mexican and a white guy and jump in the pool. They go, man, they could tell they were super stoned. They're like, dude, I want Chinese food. The Hispanic guy did. And the white dude goes, man, that's racist. And he goes, oh, sorry. Saying I want Chinese food, and I want Mexican food, I want Italian food, I want Southern cooking, I want soul food, I want it. I want Japanese steakhouses. This is on purpose, where every language, every word, everything is bad. This is mental illness. This is insanity. And this has got to stop. They want to totally bully you until you say and do and act however they want. And they've now announced hearings on, the way they've got the hearings, even though it's bipartisan, is We need to look at fake news and stuff on the big social networks. And then you've got these Republicans that don't even know what planet they're on, not knowing what's going on. And the Democrats are in there openly saying ban InfoWars. And then you read all the news articles they go, and then everybody else we disagree with. It says anyone that's a conspiracy theorist or racist. They define Trump as all that. They're the liars. They're the fake news. And they're coming because they can't win a debate to shut us down. All right, Roger Stone is driving to the airport right now, but we're getting him on the line. He has been told, and he's read over the indictment, and it doesn't say his name, but clearly they're talking about him, that he is tied into the case against 12 Russians they're claiming are intelligence operatives. Now, Rod Rosenstein, who's about to get impeached by the House of Representatives and the Senate, he made it clear that we have no evidence any U.S. citizens were involved with Russia trying to hack the election. But remember, they already indicted 13 bots from Russian PR companies. And then when the Russians showed up to court a few months ago, showing that 80% of their funding, which we already knew, was from the Democratic Party, and that we're just a PR firm, and that during any election, there are PR firms in England, in Europe, in Russia, in Japan. People use those to get around campaign finance laws. There's a little bit of hanky-panky going on, but Hillary had 80% of the money. So surprise, surprise, 80% of the spending, roughly, was Hillary's. So that's why they've got a big problem with this whole Russiagate thing, because it's Mueller on the tarmac for Obama and Hillary, for Hillary's State Department, when she was doing the Uranium One deal 8 years ago, giving them super weapons-grade uranium sample of what they were going to be buying if they gave Hillary a couple $100 million. I mean, look, if Trump was on tarmacs giving people weapons-grade uranium as a sample to sell out 25% of our strategic stockpiles, I'd say send his butt to prison. And that's what's so crazy is Mueller and Comey and the Clintons are literally on the Russian tatas. They're on the Russian mammary glands. I mean, they are on them, baby. They are making biscuits. They are getting the milk. And they were also getting it from the Chinese and everybody else. I mean, that's what, to be a Democrat is to hate Americans, sell it out. Everybody knows that. They're the ones always selling out our missile secrets and everything else. They're the ones that hate America. They're the ones that, they had the Ninth Circuit rule, you can't wear American flags in public in all those Western states. Seriously, look it up. That they're hurtful and symbols of hate. The Democratic Party wants the American flag banned. Remember Trump after Charlottesville? He said, if they want to take down the Confederate flag, next, they'll want to take down the American flag. And the next week they said, yeah, we want it taken down too. So you cannot make this up. Let me give you a cell phone number, because I'll just abort if he can't get on. It's no big deal. We know about the case, but I can't play footsie for an hour and a half on air with him to get him on. Because I've got to cover this attack on the First Amendment, man. That is the big, gigantic, mega-sized enchilada out in front of everybody, and they have an exact public plan to get rid of the First Amendment. They admit using InfoWars and WikiLeaks, by the way. 4 months ago, the Wall Street Journal, 4 months ago, the Wall Street Journal came out, and remember, everybody else picked it up and had the headline, "Hold on to your tinfoil hat. YouTube is coming for Alex Jones." And they said, well, I'm the new CEO since they sold or selling News Corp to Disney, or splitting it up. And we don't want other people on the internet. We just want big companies. And so we're going to set the precedent with Alex Jones and WikiLeaks. And once we've banned them as fake news, then we're going to ban everybody else from having their own platforms. And you'll only get maybe 100 different things on your internet. Now, this is a public statement. Then it started. CNN misrepresenting what I've said, what I've done. Saying I said nobody died at Parkland. No video of that. Saying I said there were crisis actors. No video of that. And then they ban our YouTube channel. and then we upload to our own site what I really said, and I said no such thing. And so they had to reinstate it, and Bloomberg said, oh, there was a mutiny at YouTube, the Southern Poverty Law Center people they hired to ban Alex Jones. Yeah, you can't make this up. The Southern Poverty Law Center. 20,000 people. They got $500 million offshore to go and have interfaces on every major web tech site, and then to ban not just me but everybody else. And they admit in all these articles, it's coming up next segment, I'm going to read you the quotes, that they Facebook and Google said to them at these conferences with CNN, they said, shut up, idiots. We are already censoring InfoWars. We are already censoring 80% of the posts of conservatives across the board. They're going to have racketeering suits and free speech suits and antitrust suits on us if we completely ban them. They don't know they're banned. I do. Project Veritas got the video 8 months ago with the executives going, we've already banned them. They don't know it. The dumb hicks. And he goes, what's a hick? Anybody promoting troops, police, or national sovereignty, or the American flag. Well, who's your number one enemy? Alex Jones. I've been sitting here telling you this, and now they're publicly doing it. And the crazy people at CNN are so out of control. And the Washington Post, the New York Times, and thousands of other, LA Times, New Yorker magazine, they're like, just ban him completely and arrest his ass. Sue him into oblivion for our Nazi collaborator, God George Soros. All right, let's go to Roger Stone. We got him on the line. Roger, we can see the multifaceted attack. Demonize us, misrepresent us, deplatform us, sue us, and then go to Congress and try to bamboozle a bunch of tech-ignorant Republicans that, oh, we're just ratcheting back all the fake news. No, they're not. They let Democrats threaten, to, like Keith Olbermann, to murder anyone they want and to put out lies about all of us. This is the war for this country, and the president needs to learn how serious it is and bust up these trusts. And we're sending reports to Congress and the president tomorrow that are bombshell. Bombshell, Stone. And, of course, on top of it, you got Mueller, the literal bagman with uranium to the Russians breathing down your neck with a whole new flotilla of fake indictments. Roger Stone joining us.
Well, Alex, you're absolutely right. It's a veritable war of censorship. They fear InfoWars because we're the cutting edge. We are the tip of the spear. There's no doubt in my mind that a crucial element of their plan for a silent coup against Donald Trump is to silence InfoWars. Because we go where no one else fears to go, dares go. And that's why it's a three-step process. Take away our First Amendment rights, ban InfoWars on the internet, take away our Second Amendment rights, take away our First Amendment rights, take away our Second Amendment rights, and then stage a silent coup on Donald Trump, either through impeachment based on some trumped-up charges
or 25th Amendment.
25th Amendment.
Which you first predicted a year and a half ago. Everything you've said has happened by the numbers. What's going to happen next, Roger?
Well, it's very interesting. It appears to me that the indictment of the 15 Russians is largely for public relations. Russians will never come here for trial. There'll never be an inspection of the DNC server in order to determine whether they were, in fact, ever hacked by anyone. Never mind the Russians. This is a PR coup for the special counsel, and I think it's meant to prop up his sagging public opinion.
And I should have started the interview with this. Clearly, he's about to meet with Putin on Monday, tomorrow, so they released this big, giant fart in church on Friday to obscure that.
Yeah, they undercut the President of the United States while he's out of the country. It's really outrageous.
If you look at any of them, they look like power-mad mental patients. I mean, everybody saw it. He acted like a complete loon bag who was on MDMA or something. I mean, he was making shark faces, psycho faces. These people are the worst. The scum of the earth that got in control of the FBI, worked for Hillary, covered up for her, called to the president, and now Mueller acts like he's the head of the United States. He's been caught in total fraud. He indicted 13 bots. Turned out the Russians showed up. Now they want to drop the case because none of it was real. The bot companies have been hired by Hillary. And now they're back with 12 more indictments, this time of Russian intelligence officers, knowing full well they won't be extradited here. So it's more made-up crap. And they're trying to target InfoWars and Roger Stone. This is asinine. But, Roger, as you were pointing out during the break when I was talking to you, the craziness of a failing media operation like CNN that is something like 45th, I have the latest Nielsen ratings, that's many places behind reruns of Yogi Bear, that they are out policing at events with Facebook saying shut down InfoWars, and then Facebook says, I have the articles right here, hey, we're already dialing back all the conservatives 80%. Do you understand they're going to have major cases for racketeering and discrimination and antitrust against us if we totally ban them off the platform? And CNN and the Washington Post, they go, we don't care. We want them banned now. What in the world do you think's going on, Roger Stone?
It was unbelievable. I turned on CNN this morning, and they were openly talking about banning InfoWars. Now, if CNN is a media organization, how would they justify, under the First Amendment, advocating the extinguishing of another media organization? The Washington Post doesn't talk about closing the New York Times down. They are petrified because of the millions of people that we are reaching and galvanizing and educating. And it's driving them crazy. A key element of their coup d'etat plan is to have no dissent, for there to be no platform, no forum for patriots to object, which is why closing InfoWars down is a crucial part of their plan. And it's why we need to move ahead into the courts and to bring an action against them for antitrust and for monopolistic practices. This is thuggery, is what it is.
Roger, I've studied U.S. history, so have you. It's incredibly interesting. It's riveting. I mean, I know our history. We had some problems about 5 years into the Republic during the Civil War. Lincoln, moved against newspaper editors and owners that said that, he should be killed. I mean, I'm not supporting what he did, but I could see in a war. That's people saying, overthrow, kill the president. And that's a civil war. This is the Democrats admitting in all these articles, anybody can go read them, that, once we ban InfoWars, we're going to have the precedent set to completely deplatform all conservatives, all libertarians, and we want Trump banned off Twitter, and we want Donald Jr. banned. They're in the news saying shut down their political competition. This is so incredibly criminal. They call us fake news when they are incredibly famous for fake news and staging debates and putting out lies and WMDs and just, I mean, if you try to go through and saying that Trump got rid of the bust of Martin Luther King and just the incredible lies they tell on a daily basis, this is incredible.
Well, there's no question about it. And this is the first time in our history when one of our major parties refuses to accept the results of a democratic election. I wasn't happy when Barack Obama was elected. I wasn't happy when he was reelected. But I abided by the results of the election. This is nothing short than an effort to undo what they couldn't do at the ballot box. And if the president does not understand that this bullet is heading his way, then he's in even more grave danger. This isn't about Paul Manafort or Alex Jones or Roger Stone. It's about the presidency. And our friends on the right need to recognize that InfoWars is the test case. If they shut us down, Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, they're next. They need to recognize that they are next.
And I want to be a trillion percent clear. I want to be infinity clear. A term I'm coining. I want to be 360 clear. Okay? I don't care about my ratings. I don't care about being a big shot. I don't brag about our reach or how much money we bring in or how much we spend to do this. The enemy knows that before they started censoring us, 86 million viewers a week, and that isn't hits. That's real people. We're talking hottest thing in the world, other than Drudge. Okay? And then they've crushed us down. It made us even more rock star. Our numbers are still stratospheric but they say that in the articles. They go, we've crushed him, but now everybody else reposted it and changed it, and it's total rock star. What do we do? So that's the debate they're having, that, well, we secretly censored InfoWars, and it's still getting out, though. So the Democrats say completely ban it. And they go, no, that'll create a Streisand effect. I mean, listen, here's the deal, Stone. Historically, this is so insane because they're obviously lying villains who misrepresent what we've said, then try to shut us up so they can defame and slander us. And then now they're having a giant national debate in public about the best way to strangle all nationalist conservatives, pro-veteran, pro-capitalist speech. They are outrageous criminals. They are the villains. I've never heard of even dictators admitting they're doing this in the open. This is beyond the communist Chinese, man. Can you believe they've stooped to this? This is their Waterloo. If the libertarians and conservatives and churches and Christians and veterans groups stop buying into, oh, we're ashamed of InfoWars, oh, it's being demonized. You know, Donald Trump Jr. says, well, CNN shouldn't lead the fight against fake news. They're the kings of fake news. That's just not a support of InfoWars. It's saying they shouldn't be the arbiter. No, there must be an embrace of it and an exposure of how they've misrepresented. We must take it head on and not be bullied. But all these old Republicans still think mainstream TV is dominant. It doesn't have 1/100th of the views of the conglomerate internet, where we're winning. You people have victory in your hands for the next 10 generations if you'll just take it in your frickin' hands and stop being cowards. My mission is not to be in D.C. or New York or L.A. with all you mummies with the #1 TV show that reaches 5 million people a night. No offense to Sean Hannity. He's a great guy, and he's got a huge radio show even bigger. Sean Hannity's bigger on the internet and the radio than he is on TV, and he's one of the only ones that isn't a complete coward. And all I'm telling you is, if everybody doesn't stick with us, you will all go down, and these pieces of crap will win. Now get up off your asses, get motivated, and defeat these sons of bitches. Go ahead, Stone, I'm sorry.
You know, Alex, every day we point this out, and it's just as true now as it was yesterday. When people see a link to any story on InfoWars that they find compelling, they need to repost it on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Snapchat. They cannot silence us all. They may come after you, they may come after me, but they cannot silence all of us. And there's a magnifying effect, an amplifying effect, when you take our best links and you put them up on your social media. You send them to your friends, your family, your circle of activists. They cannot snuff out the flame of freedom if people will do that.
And this is epic. This is authoritarianism rearing its head with people that want to run our children, our religion, our money. They want to control our lives, and then they lie about us and have all these weird anti-free speech professors drooling over how they want to silence us, because we know what they want to do, Roger, after they silence us, don't we?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It's called the full Manafort.
Let's briefly talk about that. I called you this week when I saw the headline in CNN about, oh, he's getting VIP treatment. Then I read down a paragraph and it said, oh, his phones are all listened to with his lawyers, and they know his defense, and they say it's criminal that he's putting on a defense, so they're moving him to solitary confinement so he can't talk to his lawyers. And they call that VIP treatment. That is so illegal, so unconstitutional.
Yeah, you wonder whether this is Nazi Germany or Soviet Russia. Look, they just want to squeeze him and make him plead guilty so they can avoid a trial. They don't want to go to trial because they don't want to talk about the misuse, the unconstitutional, illegal use of these FISA warrants. It is their Achilles heel. What is it that Rosenstein won't hand over to the U.S. House of Representatives and Devin Nunes? It's information regarding the FISA warrant.
And then to watch these enemies circle like buzzards around me and my family, and to do it to Roger and others, it makes me mad. It makes me want to fight. Because I don't want to sit here with half measures against these. I saw Strzok and how demonic and cowardly and scumbaggish and psychopathic he looked, and it didn't make me be afraid of him or Mueller. It made me mad at myself that I haven't done more to defeat them. And I will! On the altar of God, we will defeat them like King George III and the rest of the trash. I swear on the altar of God. I swear it. My full will. Roger, finish up before I get too angry. What does the president need to do? What does Trump Jr. need to do? What do we need to do to finish these enemies? Because I can feel they're preparing to launch their counterstrike.
We have an unelected federal prosecutor running the country. There are no checks and balances on him. There are no governors. There is no oversight. That's not what the Founding Fathers had in mind. The president needs to discharge Mr. Sessions, Mr. Rosenstein, and Mr. Mueller, and he needs to do it before it is too late. Mueller is taking on millions more in dollars and platoons more of young Democratic prosecutors, forming a Republican killing machine. The president has to take immediate action. Those around him who say, oh, Mr. President, this isn't aimed at you. You're not the target.
And like you told me the other day when they were doing all this stuff behind the scenes, we can't talk about the both of us, you said, it's okay, Alex. I wasn't even, you said, stop worrying about it. This is posterity. We have to attack. And you're right. Posterity. This is our children. Isn't Republican Party or any of this. These people want full control over us. That little demonic piece of crap Strzok thinks he will rule my family. No, no, no. Go ahead.
So, look, I think it's vital that people call and write the president, tell him the truth, that this is a coup d'etat, a slow-motion coup d'etat, and to the extent that the president is reassured and believes this isn't coming his way, he is sadly incorrect.
And that's why Rosenstein did that feint where he went, oh, we're not saying any citizens were involved with the Russian intelligence agencies in the new indictment. That's total crap. They got the dagger. That means the dagger's out, and they're about to make their move on the president.
Alex, I am bolting for the gate here at the airport, but let me leave you with this. Victory or death. I'm with you, my brother.
I know you got to go, but 1 minute more. They admit they're trying to cause civil unrest. They admit they're going to try to overthrow the president. I know you got to get on your plane in less than an hour. Gut level, what else can the listeners and viewers do? Because this isn't hyperbole. I'm here to get people out of their coma because I'm having to go through not the fear, but just the commitment myself that it pisses me off that we're ruled by trash like Strzok. Why is he still on the FBI payroll?
We cannot fight without a war chest. People need to go to the Infowars.com store now, make a contribution to the cause. Go to StoneDefenseFund.com now, make a contribution. We cannot fight without resources. That is probably the single most important thing InfoWarriors can do to help the coming Armageddon.
This is it. This is the battle of Ragnarok. This is the battle of the gods, and we're right in the middle of it. And you're right. I didn't even plug last hour. They're telling me plug, and I'm like having trouble financing. I said, I'm just so obsessed with info, I don't do it, but the money is critical. Again, how do people go to your defense fund, which is you just defeated Obama, one of his suits, but they got a bunch of others.
StoneDefenseFund.com, StoneDefenseFund.com, or go to the InfoWars site where you can make a generous contribution.
All right, thank you, Roger. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Roger's coming to town.
Alabama bound.
Absolutely. Good job. Well, they're freaking out on Trump when he was invited into his study and was told to sit on it as a setup. Oh, sit in Churchill's chair. His famous easy chair will take a photo. They called him a traitor. How dare you imply you defeated the Nazis, which you never did. I'm going to talk about that here in just a moment, just to illustrate how the fake news media works. But here is the crux of the matter. Here's the key to it all. Multinational corporations in the 1950s knew the U.S. had control of the planet. They decided to parlay U.S. power into global power for themselves. It had been U.S. and British corporations, select ones, that had actually set up Hitler and the whole eugenics movement. Not that the average American was like that, but there were robber barons that were very racist, very evil, into control. And they developed a very diabolical plan for the long term, which we're now living under. Trump is trying to change that. And now, if you just joined us, the Democratic Party, the big corporations are so arrogant that they are in thousands of publications in the last week calling for Infowars.com and myself and anybody we have on air that's part of the operation to be banned from the internet like communist China does. Now, the tech giants came out and they said, listen, I'll show you some of those articles here. They said, listen, you're going to make InfoWars a martyr. We've already effectively banned them on our platforms. And the Democrats are like, well, why are we still losing elections? And they go, because people hate you. And InfoWars already has an audience, people that are awake. See, you've got to reapply lies and confusion over and over again. Once somebody's awake, it doesn't work anymore. Once they get the game, once they know the scam, once they catch you cheating at cards, they don't play cards with you anymore. It's like somebody in business. You catch them ripping you off, you don't go back in business with them. So these big tech giants hijacked America, made trillions of dollars off of it, and then they've got such a hard-on for the country. They finance the universities, the schools, everything to turn us all against each other and turn us into basket cases so they could manage us and make sure the golden goose they'd gotten stayed under their control. But you turn the golden goose into a mentally retarded, drooling idiot. And Trump doesn't want to do that. He goes, let's just make everybody successful. Let's just give people an opportunity. Let's stop domesticating people. LBJ wrote dozens of letters saying, these black people, see, they'll edit me saying this, I gotta say it like this. That's what the media does, folks. They take me out of context. So you can go just type in LBJ's letters. By the way, I'm not joking. That's what they do. I quote them. They play the audio and then say I said it. But LBJ's famous for saying that these black people are incredibly uppity because they've been suppressed under segregation. It wasn't a good thing, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, Nishi. So many black areas were richer than even middle-class white areas, lower unemployment, lower illegitimacy. Everything was about we're going to be successful under this pressure. Their own hotels, their own restaurants, their own cleaners, their own doctors, their own universities. It was a golden age, okay? Not because segregation was good or all that, because that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger. People said, we don't need them. We don't need this crap. I got to cover my face, though, they'll edit this audio and put it out. This is what they do. They go, oh, look, Jones just said black people. That's what they do, man. Seriously. I say Hillary Clinton killed a bunch of people by funding Al-Qaeda and ISIS, killed a bunch of little kids in the Middle East. They edit that and say I said it was in a pizza place and then get people to sue me. So I have to do this now, and I do this because it's not that you are stupid as a viewer or listener. It's the general public. If I don't do this, they will edit it. So, again, Margaret Sanger called blacks subhuman, hired blacks to pose as liberals so they could get control of their communities. And, again, I'm not obsessing on black people. I'm not going to use political correct terms either. This is what went on. And so they've done it over and over and over and over again. And Trump's like, you know what? We're not going to sit there and break up families. We're not going to sit there and tell people they can't be successful and can't have a husband in the house. This ruins culture. We're going to actually create jobs and opportunities and honor workers again. We're going to cut back on some of this welfare and create independence again. And they're pissed, man. They don't like that's happening. I'm serious. I'm actually go to a screen now. Just put a screen up, too, when we talk, because they'll just do everything. You know, she'll just say what I say, but no, they're going to edit it. It's just... When you watch the criminals at CNN or MSNBC, even Fox with Megyn Kelly did it, and they edit what you say, and they've got the little telltale sign is they'll blur the video. Like we got HD uploads. But you ever notice when I'm on the news, it's always Comedy Central or HBO or Showtime. It's blurred. You can barely see what's going on. It's because they're editing the video and they don't want you to see the jump cuts, man. When you see them do that, they're robbing you. They think you're stupid. Does that not make you angry? God, it makes me angry. Not for me. Not that weak-minded leftists try to spit on me in the street. It's that they've been lied to like that. To where I can't even quote them because Media Matters, run by George Soros, the Nazi collaborator, will literally take it and edit it and blur it and put it out. Like if I say, I don't hate transsexuals. I don't hate anybody for how they live or what they do as long as they don't hurt somebody else. But they're always changing words and saying what you can't use on Twitter or Facebook, saying they'll ban you if you use the word tranny. And that's a word that those folks came up with themselves. That's their name for 20 years. How can then Twitter vote at the executive level to ban that? And then the headline was this week, Alex Jones attacks transsexuals and says he hates them. It's a lie. I said I hate what they call drag queen festivals they have in public schools around the country where elementary students come up with dollars and stick them in a big fat guy in a wigs outfit in a G-string with his testicles hanging down. I don't care if it's heterosexual, homosexual, whatever it is, leave the children alone. And when Media Matters and Salon do that, they know they're defrauding you of the truth. But again, the New York Times, Salon, HBO, Vice, they've all said pedophilia is okay. And you watch, they'll take what I just said tomorrow and have a whole lie out about it. But that's what they do because they want to destroy culture and society and want to divide and conquer everyone and want to defraud people because they're a bunch of worthless mercenaries that have sold out who are weak cowards and they're losing. And that's why they've got thousands of articles a week saying ban me and shut me up so I can't defend myself while you lie about us. But it doesn't matter because no matter what you do to InfoWars, the human spirit will go past it. No matter how you censor us or try to shut us down, you'll never succeed because there is a beating spirit in the breast of every man, woman, and child on this planet that wants to be free and wants to have a future, and you may get it over on us for a while. But long term, you're not going to get it over on humanity, and you're going to lose. And see, I'm not like you, a psychopathic, globalist, Luciferian, self-serving nutball. I'm so self-serving that I know I'm going to die. And I want humanity to go on because I love humanity and I love our quest. And I love this big battle we've been on this planet to get to the level we're at. And I want us to win. And because I'm a fan of humanity and because I believe in that dream, I know I'm going forward with all of you and your children. And that's why I am more than willing to be destroyed. And now my prayers to take on the globalist at point blank range are coming true. And we are now on the chessboard, facing the globalist king and queen as I, the rook, engage in a desperate gambit to be destroyed, but in the end, bring them down. And that's where we stand at the fulcrum. Coming up, Mike Adams, who has written a key report to Congress that I asked him and commissioned him to do, that will be sent to the president and more. Coming up tomorrow, will join us on the draconian plan to kill the First Amendment, launch civil war, and bring down the Republic. Key globalist battle plans, Death Star plans, will be laid out coming up. It was about 9:30 last night that my phone kept ringing, and I had it in the bedroom, and I was in the living room with my wife and my daughter, and I went back in, and I saw the message, and it was that a fellow that worked here almost 7 years, 6-7 years, Joe Jennings, had been hit by a car and died in North Austin. And Joe was just always such a positive, hardworking guy, one of the engineers up here, and also the director of David Knight's show, along with some of the other co-directors, that when I heard it, it just wasn't real. And, of course, you know, Joe's got 4 children. His wife's really nice. And, you know, I've been out to eat with him and been here at the office with him a lot. But he's the guy that I was always telling my wife, hey, we ought to, you know, hang out with him and the kids. His kids are really nice. He and Marcos Morales are real good friends. His daughters are real nice as well. And there's Julian and McBreen and Owen and Jennings. So Jennings normally drives his car to work. And he's the guy that puts on the leather jacket and the gloves and everything, drives a big cruiser. But sometimes he rides his motorcycle. And he's a real safe driver, you name it. But the police said that, we're getting the police report, but they came to the house. It was in his neighborhood. They said that 2 miles from your house is the most dangerous place, not even the highway. Somebody in an SUV just smacked him, knocked his helmet off. You know, he was pretty much dead on impact. And it just shows you how fast somebody can be in your life and be out of your life. You know, I took off Friday to take care of family business, and I was here Thursday, and I walked in the morning, and I was busy, had a bunch of stuff to do, and Joe was in there wiring up the big new studio, and he had music on. He looked so happy with these wires in his hand and pliers, and he said, oh, hi, Alex. He was just always genuinely so happy. They say the good die young. I mean, he wasn't 50 yet, and he's just gone. He's gone. And I'd have anything to, you know, go back in a time machine and warn him and bring him back. But there he was going to get his haircut last night at like 6:30. Got his little haircut, driving back to his house in a residential area. SUV smacked him. Yeah, go to full screen on that photo, guys. Please, thank you. And he's gone. So thanks to George Soros's lawsuits, And thanks to the globalists banning us on Google Ads and everything, they have restricted our attempt to expand in the face of the enemy. And you know, I just end up then donating to Project Veritas or the hashtag Walkaway Movement or many other groups that I give to, because just the basic seed money ends up really helping me get the word out. There's no strings attached for Infowars.com. But in this case, I am going to try to sell the bus I have when I was going to travel the country 8 years ago. It's still a great bus, and give the proceeds to his family. I'm going to make a big donation myself, but I don't have a ton of discretionary funds, but I'm going to do that next week. I'm not going to say the amount, but it's larger than this. But you know, his wife's a part-time masseuse. He takes care of his elderly mother. They all live in one house. He's just a really nice guy, and so he has a GoFundMe, Joe Jennings Memorial Fund. GoFundMe.com/Joe-Jennings-Memorial-Fund, or just go to GoFundMe. GoFundMe's so leftist, but they do take 0% of the money that they'd probably ban it just it's associated with me, since it's a memorial fund. But and they'll probably do that. It's just who they are, is the left. But Joe's a really good guy, and you know, he's still alive in our hearts and minds. We know he's in a better place. He loved God. He was always so positive that it was almost like a joke how nice he was. But his wife really loved him, and thought he was the best man she'd ever known. And his kids were all really well behaved and good. So that tells you something right there. One of their children is in the shot, but their children are 15 down, I think, like 3. And again, I'm not a nanny state guy. People say, well, why do you have a motorcycle if you got kids? Well, he rode it on the weekends. He rode it safely. You know, you can get killed in a car too. The most dangerous thing in the world is the highway until you're about 55. Then it's heart attacks and cancer. And it's just, you know, look out for motorcycles. But you know, the bottom line here is you don't know how long somebody's going to be in your life. And I just wish I'd have spent more time with Joe Jennings. I wish that I would have, because I really don't do anything but spend the time with my kids and just work all the time. And it just, you know, makes you realize this is what we're all fighting for. So I'm going to make a large donation, and I'm going to try to sell that bus because I never use it anymore. And it's had the new turbo put in, and it's a really nice bus. And I'm gonna try to sell that, and all the proceeds will go to his wife and some other things we're doing also. But I'm gonna make a large donation, as I said, this week. But they're not even. I tried to call them today to say I'm really sorry, blah blah blah. I'm gonna try to make a large donation to you next week, and they didn't want it. They were like, thank you so much. We don't even they're too shell shocked. You know, Dad goes out to get his haircut down the street 2 miles away, and then the police come to your door and say sorry. You know, he's dead. They didn't even take him to the emergency room. He was dead when they got there. So I guess that's a, you know, silver lining to the whole situation. But Joe Jennings was a patriot. He'd worked in a bunch of he was a news director in Miami and a news director, in Washington, D.C. And, you know, he was a patriot. He wanted to work here. They ended up moving here, 6-7 years ago, from Florida to work here. And he's just a treasure, and he's gone. But he's in our hearts, and the work continues on. So be sure and go donate to that. That's Joe Jennings Memorial Fund, GoFundMe.com, Joe Jennings Memorial Fund. And if you're a radio listener, you'll know him. If there's any other Joe Jennings in there, because it's got a picture of him and his wife and 3 kids. And his wife's such a sweetheart as well. It's very hard for me to even call and talk to her, and because she's so devastated. But, you know, it's better to loved and lost than never have loved at all. That said, as they keep pointing out, we won't be here if I don't plug. Seriously, folks, we will expand in their face or we will implode. And you've seen what InfoWars has done. We've got, just like our info is powerful, our products are powerful. InfoWarsStore.com. We've gotten so busy with all the stuff going on the last few days. I never even got rid of the July 4th sale, free shipping and 50% off all our best-selling items. We ended up just adding the other specials and never got 25% off Super Silver Wound Care that is the strongest out there below prescription. And it's normally $40. We private label. It's $29.95. It's one of the top firms in the country. I'm going to have the guy in. He's a listener. This is the stuff they use in medical clinics. My dad learned about it because they use it in dentistry. I mean, do not ingest this, though. This is weapons grade. I'm going to tell you right now, nanotech silver, like it's 24, whatever it is, billion nanotechs. And then the stuff that's prescriptions like 34, whatever. It's all technical and it's insane. But if you want weapons grade silver, that bacteria, you're allowed under the FDA. It's quote, FDA authorized to say a bunch of stuff. And I've got pages of it here. Just go read it for yourself. InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com, and get the amazing wound care and protection. Super Silver. We'll be right back. Stay with us, InfoWarsLife.com. Without you, we will be shut down. Don't forget the new free app, InfoWars.com/app. It's all of us together wanting freedom, wanting a future, being hardworking, being rugged individualists. They fear Americana because it was the greatest expression so far of the Renaissance and of the incredible inventions and ideas that came out of it. Now, no one, because all the big so-called internet free speech groups are Soros and leftist funded now. It happened in the last 5 years. No one on the left, ACLU, you name it, and I've got lawyers like Randazza, that's the top First Amendment lawyer right now in the country. Even Dershowitz comes out, says the same thing. First Amendment's under attack. They all agree the left's trying to kill it. And in Europe, they're killing it. And Apple's moved to China with their code keys. And emojis of Taiwan are being banned. Americans can't send it. Your phone crashes. That was a little too obvious, so they quit crashing the phones on Friday. It's here. And so in literally thousands of articles, I've only read a couple hundred of them. I mentioned a bunch earlier and showed them to TV viewers and radio listeners. They admit, we're just using InfoWars that we've demonized and misrepresented and taken a few cherry-picked things out of context as the case point. They're having hearings on Tuesday to try to mainline censoring libertarian, conservative, nationalist, independent health news, vaccine awareness, real liberal anti-war stuff, all of it off the internet. And then Facebook and Google went, stop it. Here's the articles. They said, we've already basically banned everybody. We haven't got rid of Jones completely because it's too obvious. We can have an antitrust suit. Facebook would make a martyr by banning InfoWars. TechCrunch. Facebook won't ban InfoWars for good reason. Like both sides do it. And what about YouTube? That's New York Magazine. But they have already banned us. They say 80%. What did I say a month ago? I said, we can look at the graph. It's 80%. They don't let you share it. They peg our live feeds. We used to have live feeds with 3 million viewers. I just do it from my house. They don't let you have it. They kick you off. They don't even know what I'm talking about. They just censor. So this segment and the next, Mike Adams, who's a engineer, computer programmer, naturalnews.com, has over 300 sites, best-selling author. Watson's writing a report tomorrow that's a boil down. But Mike's taking the challenge because I've been talking to folks who are aware of what's going on, and then they say, well, Alex, what's the full architecture of how they're already shadow banning the president, how they're already not letting most of his push notifications on Twitter go out? And they go, what do we do? Well, I'm like, well, let's lay out the problem. Then let's talk about the solution, antitrust. Let's talk about just exposing it and making them stop because they're doing it ahead of the midterms. And thank God CNN, the Washington Post, and thousands of other dying dinosaur media got greedy and said, we don't just want them strangled quietly. We want their heads cut off with guillotines publicly. Our legs are cut off. They don't want us to put tourniquets on. Facebook's smart, but see, the left wants to haul us up and pillory us in public and burn us at the stake. And that's where they'll fail. And again, Facebook said that. They said, listen, you understand it's illegal what we're doing. So Mike Adams, you got your big report coming out tomorrow morning, naturalnews.com, infowars.com. Paul will have his as well. They'll both link to each other. This is an executive report to the public, to Congress, to the president, which the listeners need to. I'll get it directly to the president, don't you worry. But everyone needs to hammer it so it's coming out of their ears. So thank you for coming on with us on Sunday night. Lay out this tour de force you've put together, Mike.
Well, thank you, Alex. It's good to join you today. My condolences to your crew for the loss of a valued staff member. He would want us to, of course, keep fighting, and that's what we're doing right now. This report, the working title is The Censorship Master Plan Decoded. It is subtitled The Blueprint for How Tech Giants Covertly Silence Online Speech and How America Can Fight Back Against Corporate Tech Monopolists. And this document really lays out, I have a software background and a tech background. This document lays out both the technical methods of censorship, but also the psychological methods of lynch mob oppression that goes along with that censorship, because as you know, it's a trifecta. I mean, it's a 3-branch censorship effort.
They have to demonize you, they have to legitimize it, they have to stir up the hysteria. And by the way, since you announced this, because they'll probably, I'm glad you did, why don't you go ahead and publish it Natural News tonight in case they try to steal that headline, so everybody can now go and get it tonight. Let's go ahead and do a soft launch tonight. We'll post it on InfoWars in the morning. How's that sound?
Well, that's great. I'll do that tonight. I'm going to have a formal PDF put up tomorrow, but I'll get it out early on Natural News tonight in an article form. Also, videos will be posted, of course, about it. But in addition to laying out the censorship methods, both covert and overt censorship, which include things that have not really been discussed that much before, such as doubt interrupts. Doubt interrupts are ways that the tech giants cast doubt upon your website when a user is trying to share a link about you. They try to create doubt, and then they do character assassination.
They intercess, like you're on the phone with your neighbor, and they go, don't really listen to Bob. This is literal, real-time interfacing.
Right. There's also email interruptions. So you have an email newsletter. You probably know, I'm sure your tech people can confirm, that when people subscribe from Gmail, that Gmail will single you out for a specific severe type of censorship, as if they were walking down the street, accosting the mailman and grabbing all the letters from InfoWars and ripping them to shreds to make sure that people can't receive the mail that they've asked for. So that's also going on as well.
So a high-tech version of what went on the Soviet Union.
Absolutely. But more importantly, this report, Alex, lays out what I believe is a detailed intellectual argument that demolishes the attempted internal justifications for censorship that are currently being invoked by these tech giants.
Because let's be clear, you are breaking down, and we're breaking down a blueprint of how they're doing it, so Congress, who are not tech experts, and others, the president, can take action. And every claim you make in this big piece that's coming out, like a week in the making, is their own admissions. Continue.
That's right. It's well documented and well cited. The entire document, which is about 40 pages, I'm just doing a final review of it tonight to get it online. It's intended to be reviewed by lawmakers and regulators who must take a role in this if we are going to take back America and this platform of free speech, take it back from the tech giants that have become very dangerous monopolists who assert their, quote, right to censor you and others like myself because they assert that you are hate speech, or that the things that you talk about, such as wanting to protect your nation's own borders, are inherently hateful or racist, which is, of course, an absurd idea. So I dismantle all of those logical fallacies. I also show how these tech giants are outsourcing the censorship efforts to third-party companies, moderators, so-called trusted flaggers, so that the companies themselves can claim, well, we're not censoring anyone. We outsource that job to these other people, but all those other people are radical left-wing organizations such as the SPLC. So all of this is laid out in the document. It's going to be bombshell. It's going to open the eyes of a lot of people, and it's coming out, in less than, 16 hours or whatever. It'll be out tomorrow morning.
Amazing. And the reason we're so serious here and the time is short is they're going to a new level where they're calling for complete internet deplatforming system-wide within lawsuits to shut down our sites themselves, and then obviously targeting the servers to kick us off. This is the big move ahead of the midterms, and something big they're planning against Trump.
Well, you're exactly right. And one thing I point out in the report is that Robert Mueller himself declared that the Russians attempted to defraud the United States of America through very small monetized attempts to interfere with the election. Well, by that very same logic, Google, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and others are massively defrauding the United States of America. In this run-up to the midterm elections, they are selectively censoring voices that are pro-Trump, pro-America, pro-Constitution, conservative voices, pro-Christian voices, and so on. And this is fraudulent. This is an actual
It's an organized criminal operation. When you come back, run through first look at this key report. But understand, folks, what's different is they're in literally hundreds of articles, thousands that are out there, I can't read them all, admitting they want to silence everybody and admitting InfoWars is the test case. What's been missing is a blueprint, a layout of how big tech, the Democratic Party, Soros, and the globalists are admitting in their own publications, like we're idiots, how they're already censoring nationalists, conservatives, classical liberals, anybody they don't agree with. And now they've ratcheted up to over 80% of our posts, our emails, everything being intercepted, being blocked. It's beyond anything that the East Germans ever did. It's beyond what the NSA has been doing. But now Mike Adams, engineer, computer programmer, best-selling author, researcher, working with InfoWars, is going to publish a big 40-page report tomorrow. Paul Watson has one as well, because I was talking to people in Congress, folks in the campaign, the White House, and they said, we know what's going on. We're looking at some antitrust busting. We're looking at, other areas. What's the full scope? Well, just last week, the Democrats came out and admitted their plan. Just ban everybody. They've already shadow banned us. So they've already jumped the shark here. They've already made the First Amendment a martyr, in their own words. They've already really upset a lot of people, but they bought off all the leftist so-called free speech protectors. The Electronic Frontier Foundation, we have the top lawyers of First Amendment who are big liberals. They go, oh, no, nobody does it now, but maybe Mark Randazza and Alan Dershowitz and a few others. Everybody else is scared or on Soros' payroll, like the Southern Poverty Law Center or the folks over there with the ACLU. So it's up to us, the libertarian conservatives, the nationalists, to put a report out. This report will be out in one version tonight at naturalnews.com. Infowars.com early in the morning, a PDF version. Hammer Congress, hammer talk radio, hammer everything, because the fight's now. Again, they start with Infowars, they demonize it, they get a mob mentality, they try to take it all down. We got 8.5 minutes. Mike Adams, I'm going to shut up. You've got the floor. Break down what's in this report, why it's so important, where we are right now.
Okay, this report is, as you mentioned, intended to be a primer for legislators. Many people in Washington, D.C. don't have a strong tech background, and they don't understand exactly how the censorship is happening or even how to fight back against it. For example, there are hidden algorithms that Google uses, search down ranking algorithms, manual penalties, punitive measures that are sort of black box measures that no one can see. So there's a lack of transparency even in the way that the censorship is happening, where those who are being censored are not fully aware of how they're being censored. There's shadow banning, for example, on Twitter and Facebook. So all of the people in Washington, D.C. who are really, they're going to have to assert the government authority to protect free speech and stop the malicious discrimination. We live in a country where we have roundly rejected the idea that individuals can be discriminated against by private companies based on the color of their skin. But we're now enduring mass discrimination by private companies based on the color of our ideas. This must be rejected by the government, and the government has a compelling interest to assert the right to protect the free speech of individuals in our free society. Were you going to say something?
No. I was just agreeing with you.
I'm sorry. Joining remotely, sometimes I hear sound effects. I thought you were about to speak on something.
No, you're doing a great job, Mike, and great job in your report. Continue.
Yeah. Also, along with this are very important intellectual arguments that can be cited by legislators or even judicial decision makers.
This is a roadmap in their own words that they're censoring us and laughing about it, that everyone can see in their own prima facie words.
Absolutely, but also modernized with the understanding, the context that today we live in a hyper-connected online society, and that the ability to express yourself through online platforms is now an essential means
it's
of
like blacks having a right to get on buses or go to a restaurant or use a bathroom or a hotel. They are utilities in their own words. They're monopolies, and they're denying us access.
And the left's justification of saying that they have the right to cut you off because they don't like the color of your speech is essentially the same as if they were to say, well, an electrical company could cut off your electricity because you're using that electricity to run a computer to post comments that are endorsing Donald Trump. Well, that would be absurd. Or if a company said, you don't have the right to receive radio because you're tuning to, Infowars or Sean Hannity or whatever. You shouldn't have the right to receive radio signals because we don't like the content of the signals that you're receiving. So we're going to surround your house with a radio blocker technology. This is the sort of equivalent of what they're doing today. Or imagine if 30 years ago, when the physical public square, or let's say the neighborhood sidewalk, was a place where you would stroll down the sidewalk, you'd say hi to your neighbors, you might discuss things with friends. What if they said, well, we don't like you, you're not welcome here, you can't walk down the sidewalk solely because of the color of your speech and the color of your ideas? That's what Google is doing today. That's what Facebook is doing, YouTube, Twitter, many others. These are gross violations of fundamental human rights, human dignity, and even, I believe, constitutional protections, but they must be asserted by the government. And the assertion of the protection of free speech is, of course, already enshrined in federal law. The federal government could right now indict the executives of, let's say, Facebook for engaging in racketeering and violations of the RICO Act. They also don't have to go that far. They could right now invoke antitrust regulation action, and they could break apart these companies. These are monopolies. Some of them have 80 or 90% market share of their respective service areas.
Like Google.
They could break them apart. Exactly. People need to have options. The other very important point, Alex, this is a crucial logic point to the argument of all of this, is that these giants achieved monopoly dominance through fundamental fraud. When they were launched, they pretended that they would be open platforms.
Don't be evil. We'll always be open. We're a utility. They broke their public trust. They broke their social contract.
That's exactly it. And I even used that term, the social contract. But you see, now, after they have achieved market dominance and monopoly status, power, and influence on the internet, they now then selectively ban conservatives, but they don't even give the reasons for, they don't even tell the truth that they're banning you because you're talking about cannabis,
they brag in all these undercover videos that, oh, the slaves don't even know we've banned them. And so here's the deal. They think Congress is dumb. They think the president's dumb. They think we're dumb. They've gone so far, though, that they will be defeated now. And again, go back to the media. The leftist old dinosaur media that's being, shut down by the big tech. They're bitching, saying, give us access, shut everybody down. They're already force-feeding mainstream news. They're like, shut up. We're already censoring them. Isn't it beautiful how CNN and the New York Times and the Washington Post just blew the whole thing wide open?
Well, it's fascinating, too, because as I outline in this report, CNN is essentially asserting this absurd truism where if you work for CNN, you are magically transformed into a godlike, omniscient being who can see reality with absolute clarity and has no personal bias whatsoever. That you are distortion-free if your paycheck is signed by CNN. Well, this assertion, by the way, reminds us of the pre-Magna Carta days when the king said that I, the king, am the representative of God, and thus my word is the word of God, and thus I define what is right and wrong. CNN is invoking the same argument as these kings of ancient times, saying that they define reality. They define what is right and wrong.
It's just like the Southern Poverty Law Center and all these groups that now run PolitiFact and all that. These are the most discredited groups. CNN's discredited. How are they like the high and mighty Supreme Court deciding this? And look at this headline. I love the New American, but they're wrong. CNN upset that Facebook hasn't censored InfoWars. Facebook said, we censor him 80%. They said, we just don't want him to know. We are being censored. That's the whole point.
Well, the fact that CNN is calling for censorship of a competing news organization, your organization, really exposes that CNN is fraudulent from the get-go. It exposes the lack of any kind of intellectual honesty in their position. And again, CNN pretends that they have a unique divine power to discern truth, and that this power is not accessible to anyone else, and yet they never explain how this power came to be acquired solely by CNN or other left-wing media outlets.
What gave them this divine right of kings that you're talking about? I mean, they had hundreds of articles last month saying, ban my old videos on Amazon documentaries, saying they're not documentaries, ban them, and they called in-game Nazi when the whole film is against eugenics and Nazis.
Right, of course. Well, this is the thing. The news narrative is not about news. Mainstream news narratives are about controlling and shaping reality. News is the cover story. They pretend to be providing information.
And the general public is rebelling, so now they're taking the velvet glove off, going iron fist. Mike Adams, naturalnews.com, Infowars.com. The big report comes out in the morning. Everybody get it. Get it out, get it to Congress. We'll have email list on there. The president, media, hammer it, because they're going to shut down all media, all independent media. InfoWars is only the litmus test. God bless you. Thank you, Mike Adams. Great job.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
2.5 years ago, Hillary Clinton dubbed myself and InfoWars as fake news. Since then, the Democrats in Congress, CNN, MSNBC have all lobbied to keep me from publishing books, to have us kicked offline from Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and they've had some success. Not only are they the real fake news and working for the communist Chinese and others to overthrow this country, They're also working to destroy the First Amendment here in America. But here at InfoWars, we've been expanding on radio and TV thanks to your support, and we've launched a new powerful free app called InfoWars Official. InfoWars Official is a state-of-the-art app with live streaming of podcasts, my broadcast, David Knight's show, The War Room with Roger Stone and Owen Schroyer, and so many other broadcasts that we're launching as we speak. It's got live news feeds, live news alerts. It's got push notifications if you click to get them so you know we go live or have special events. This is the forbidden app. This is what they demonize. This is what they don't want you to see. Think for yourselves. Go find out why InfoWars is so verboten and why the system openly is lobbying to have us shut down. Every enemy of capitalism, every enemy of America, every globalist corporation hates InfoWars for one reason. We are aware of their operation, and we are effective in challenging them and awakening our fellow humans. That's why every platform we've got is critical in the fight, and this new weapon is incredible. Whatever you do, ladies and gentlemen, go download the official InfoWars app today, and then send out on your email, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, links to everybody saying, hey, here's the forbidden InfoWars platform. Here's what the globalists want shut down. Here's what they don't want you to hear, read, and see. It's the InfoWars official app taken on the globalist at point blank range. And with your help spreading it and with your help downloading it, we are unstoppable.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.